program is brought to you by realestate.com.au, Australia's #1 address in property. With more properties for sale than anywhere else, we make it easier.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the previous week's auction results. There were 1,245 auctions across the country with a clearance rate of 56.6%. Sydney held 465 auctions, fetching a clearance rate of 55.5%. Melbourne's auction numbers were down a little bit this week with 388 and a clearance rate was 65.5%. Brisbane held 67 auctions with a clearance rate of 44.8%. There were 46 auctions in Adelaide with a clearance rate of 67.4%, and Canberra hosted 47 auctions with a clearance rate of 55.3%. Well, joining me now on the set is Eleanor Creagh, Senior Economist with REA Group. Eleanor, thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the auction numbers. Are the clearance rates starting to pick up again?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've certainly seen that clearance rates have steadied relative to the slightly lower clearance rates we were seeing throughout the second quarter of this year when interest rates first started rising. Potentially, you know, after a few months of price falls, vendors kind of adjusting their expectations, adapting to market conditions a little bit. Buyers also maybe taking a little bit of confidence that the RBA moved by less than expected, and also aware that, you know, borrowing costs are going to continue to rise as interest rates continue to rise, and kind of taking advantage of the choice that's out there in the market at the moment. So potentially why we're seeing a few more properties clearing than we did over the second quarter of this year. And I guess it's no longer such a shock that interest rates are quickly rising.
Yeah, you mentioned choice. It looks like there is actually quite a lot of stock on the market right now. And what's the sort of rough time length that it's taking to have a property listed on REA Group for it to sell?
Yeah, so we've seen that in September, the total number of properties available for sale on realestate.com.au is up around 26% year on year. So certainly a lot more options out there for buyers, although we have seen a bit of a slower start to spring with new listings dipping 7.5% month on month in September. That total stock that's available for sale is still significantly up on levels we saw last year. Now, that means that there's a bit less competition out there, less fear of missing out, certainly relative to spring last year, and buyers have more time, more power at the negotiating table, and that is seeing properties taking longer to sell. So throughout spring last year, we saw that nationally days on site was sitting around 30 days. Now we've seen that lifting to 44 days, so climbing 1 day from August to September.
Okay, look, let's talk about rents. Your data's showing that rents have just had their strongest quarterly growth on record. Where around the country are rents rising the fastest? So rental price pressures are pretty strong Australia-wide. We did see that nationally rents rose 4.3% in the September quarter. As you mentioned, that's the strongest quarter on record. There are some, I guess, real hot pockets where demand is strong and the availability of rentals is very constrained, which is creating incredible upward price pressures on rent. So there's some suburbs where rental prices are increasing by more than 20%. So the Surfers Paradise, for instance, on the Gold Coast, rental prices for houses up 26% year on year. Now that's almost $300 increase when you look at the median rental prices that some renters could face. Byron Bay as well, another hot pocket, particularly for houses with strong rental price pressures of around 15% year on year. Well, Eleanor Creagh, Senior Economist at REA Group, thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me.